Good day, everybody. How's it going this week? Well, there was an interesting little story, and I wanted to kind of make a video on it, just a real quick blurbish kind of thing. There was a little hack that happened in Oregon this year. That was an interesting thing, little funny thing, little luckily it wasn't anything worse that was put up there. But furry hackers made the news again back in Portland, Oregon, where there was this Reddit user named Hanging with Mr. Pooper because, the internet is a classy place. Basically, where the amount of millions that the lottery jackpot could have been was replaced by an animated GIF of some palish mitten hands stroking a cat's face and the cat purring and loving it. So, I mean, money can't buy you everything, clearly, and the adoration of a cat enjoying those magical hand paws on their face is apparently one of those things that money cannot buy. Though when I look at the screenshot now, and this is something I just saw just now, I know that 14 is supposed to represent a ball in the drawing thing, but it could get confused with how many millions of dollars it is if there's no other context of that LED screen. It's one of those interesting things where it's like, you think about LED screens too. It's like, well, this is going to be a TV that's going to show you hundreds of different, thousands of photos, and then some LED screens that come out of the creation are just, I am going to display a number on a billboard for the rest of my days. So if you ever feel bad about your lot in life, just remember, at least you are not an LED screen on a lottery board saying one number constantly. But at least the people who used to have to take up and down those things or now have the free time to hack it so that there's a cat on the screen. That's what the world does, man. Things change sometimes. I'm not going to go too deep into it because there's like one primary source for this, and it's really well written. And so if you want to read more about it, it's on Coin. This is just the intro to it. It is basically written by John Ross Ferrara. And basically he goes over like all the different like what caused it, what was the story behind it. There's a lot of detail and a lot of good information here. So if you want to support that article, I would say go ahead and click on the link in the description below, and you'll be able to read the whole story on that. But I won't undermine it, that John's work there by just parroting what he wrote. Because I kind of always get annoyed by YouTubers that do that kind of a thing. There's some in the financial spaces that I won't name that do that, where it's like, I'm going to tell you this important thing, and it's something I just read off of CSNBC or something. And it's like, why don't you just point me to the original article so I can read it instead of having to listen to you ramble at me a lot? Yeah, so if you want to read about it, it's in the description below. I'd probably put it. I've got a list of furry articles written by non-furries and written by furries as far as like nonfiction go for like the Ursa Majors thing, and obviously that one's kind of been added to that list. But it was an interesting thing. I guess the one thing I can add to this as far as like histories of like weird hacks in the furry fandom, there was one that was, I would say, a little worse for wear, because that one was pretty wholesome. Like, it was just a wholesome little thing of a cat being scratched. There was a podcast called Furcast that ran between, what was it called? I don't remember when it started, actually. I think it was like 2010, and then it like ran to 2020. So it had like a decade. There was one episode that they were running, and somebody had hacked a radio tower in I think it was Texas. I think that was the state it was in. I don't remember the full details. I'm kind of doing this a little off the cuff, but basically there was this like, they were like basically taking the podcast thing and projecting it onto the radio waves for a particular channel or a particular like television station or something. And yeah, it wasn't Furcast didn't do that, but some furry out there probably did that for the lulz, and obviously caused the people of Furcast a lot of headaches when they did that. And unfortunately, like Furcast, this thing is a mature audience's podcast, so they were talking about some innuendos and some risque topics, and obviously that went out of the airways. So it was not the internet airwaves as they normally do, but the actual general like FCC regulated stuff, and it was a mess. So not anything too quote unquote new as far as like hacking those things. I think this one at the end of the day was a bit wholesome, but what do you guys think on it? If you have any thoughts or comments on this, obviously you can always communicate, kick that like, kick the subscribe button, kick a comment in the comment section over that, and I will see you guys next time.